Hi. So it's amazing to see so many people engaging with me. And one of the comments from Aris Corrales was like, hey, I'm trying to use tarot cards and see if like they can tell me if I should revoke my soul contract agreements or not. But every card like he draws like it seems like very irrelevant and stuff, and he's asking if entities can mess with it or are there some other reasons for that. And I think like it's interesting subject. Like can tarot cards tell you if it's like okay or not to revoke certain agreements? Can you get like good insights and know what's good for you or not? And it's an interesting subject. And I have a few things to say, like regarding entities and revoking agreements. And I guess we can start with revoking agreements. I believe it might be even hard for tarot cards to tell you about the changes because even you yourself, while doing the process, you do not know where it's going to take you or specific things you're addressing. Like I think like with tarot cards, and I'm not the expert, I haven't used it that much or at all. Like I'm like okay, I've heard of it, but no basics maybe, maybe not. I hardly know anything about tarot cards. Okay, but for people who might like try to get the specific answer and stuff, I believe like you need to have very specific question and you need to be very very, very specific. Now when you're like revoking agreements, it's like should I revoke agreement that I'm afraid to get out of body or like whatever your issue might be, like I'm just like making it up. But I think with revoking agreements, when you're revoking agreements, you have to be very specific. You have to know your subject, and it's not just like one topic or like your issue might be afraid of getting out of body or not being able to get out of body, not having memories when you get out of body, not being able to see anything when you get out of body, being messed by enemies, whatever issue you might have in life regarding careers, regarding your job, regarding your health, regarding how you're doing in life, your luck, anything. There can be tons of subjects for you to choose. And when we're working contracts, it's like we have specific subject, health, career, health, or like I'm repeating myself, lifestyles, people, relationships, whatever. So that's area that you're addressing, and from that area you choose like okay, maybe relationships, maybe subjects, maybe like my ability to get out of body. Yeah, getting out of body seems like okay. And a lot of people that watch my channel, they might want to get out of body, so let's address that. So our area is getting out of body. And then people get into like, okay, let's choose, we have the area that we're addressing, now let's choose specific subject, issue, item that we're going to address. And from that, you break down your thing. What is your issue regarding getting out of body? And you're like, okay, well, I'm afraid to get out of body. I'm afraid that when I get out of body, I will see entities and they'll mess with me. I'm afraid I will not be able to get back to my body. I'm afraid that I will go to like lower realms and I'll get messed with. And that's like regarding fear. That's like afraid that when you get out of body, then there's gonna also like you're gonna be stuck. You're never gonna be able to come back. Not just the fear. There's the thing with you can revoke your fear, but you still might have the possibility happening. So now you're not afraid that might happen. So you have to revoke. You're afraid that you won't be able to come back to body, and then the agreement that you will not be able to come back to body because you have to remove the feeling state and the possibility of that thing happening. That being said, when you focus on specific item and you choose like, okay, afraid of getting out of body or like, not being able to get out of body, like let's choose like my item is not being able to get out of body, for example. And the person that's addressing it, like reads the tarot card and like the tarot cards might not tell you enough because it's very vast still. And the item has all of your stuff in this life and all the present, past, and future within all dimensions. That's like regarding all of your existence, everything regarding not being able to get out of body. So for cards, it's kind of hard to tell you like we don't know like they cannot like read enough because it's too much. It's too broad. So when you address not being able to get out of body, for example, and you can have whatever item, you talk it up. You literally to find your agreements, you have to reflect to your life. The things that you did, the things that happened, any kind right here in the present, in the past, and then if you have memories from past lives, great. If you don't, the thing with like revoking agreements, you literally might get memories back from past lives while doing the revocations. So when we revoke agreements regarding not being able to get out of body, you literally address like okay, why can't I get out of body? And then the reason, like, why can't you get out of body, and then you're gonna name, like, oh, maybe I don't have a good enough diet, I'm too lazy to practice, I don't want to practice, I don't practice enough, there always seems too many things that it never works, like blah blah blah, and you just name tons of beliefs and things that keep happening in your life that are stopping you from getting out of body. And that's just one. And you talk it up, and you literally might find from 1 to 20 to 100 agreements of why you can't get out of body. And that's just why. And then you can, like, ask yourself, how do you feel about this? Are there any good things that you can't get out of body? Are there any disadvantages or bad things that you cannot get out of body? How does it make you feel? Like, is there a substitute for getting out, like, not being able to get out of body? Like, what might be substitutes for not being able to get out of body? Well, I can be here and, like, get more engaged in life and stuff. And you just, like, literally ask yourself a question and talk it up. And all of your beliefs, perceptions, attitudes, feelings, emotions, thoughts, all of it will be agreements. So you can literally talk it up a lot, but now you're trying to get a reading on tarot cards on why you can't get out of body, and would it be okay to revoke those agreements? But your subject is vast, and you can find thousands of agreements regarding one topic. So once you revoke it, and you might do revocation, and you get rid of all of, like, not being able to get out of body. So that's one thing. But the thing is, regarding, like, getting out of body, you might have tons of issues. You're lazy, you're tired, you're not willing to work, you don't get enough sleep, you're always getting, like, things, like, interrupted and stuff, and there might be tons of factors. So you remove one topic and, like, agreements regarding the topic, but there will be, like, tons of these topics touching, like, that one subject. So you literally have to imagine it like a cluster, or like a pyramid, like pyramid is easier. So pyramid, like, builds off, like, example, like, this is a pen, but tons of these, this is one subject, and you have it lined up line after line after line after line, and it just builds up a very big cluster, all regarding not being able to get out of body. And you literally, okay, you're too lazy to get out of body, and you, like, remove one subject, but you have to find key things, key factors that hold you from getting out of body. And that might be regarding your lifestyle, regarding things that are happening, and you touch everything regarding yourself. And then, like, I might be messed with vanities. They might be blocking my ability to get out. So you've worked for, like, you might have did, like, 1 to 5 sessions regarding like, not being able to get out of body. And then you get the realization that there might be someone else messing with you and stopping you from getting out of body. And, for example, now you removed quite a lot of agreements, like, for a few hundred, for example, and you move that aside, and now you address, like, being stopped from getting out of body. So not being able to get out of body, and being stopped from getting out of body. And then you look at all the things that are stopping you, the outside. It's just like you look at the inside, you look at the outside, and you address as many things as possible that are related to that item. And the thing is, with the soul contract work, the more you work, the better. And you can, like, make, like, revoke all of your agreements. You can have 1,000 agreements about everything you have, but it might not work because you're touching absolutely everything. And when revoking contracts, you have to be very specific. It's like, you're working on your financial stuff, you're working on your dreams about building a house, and you can't, like, you're building a house, you can't talk about the forest or going into the park and, like, having fun and stuff. You're literally building a house. We need this very specific thing and stuff. And so I'm going all over the place, but I just want to make it clear that you literally have to work a bit longer. It's not like you do one session and your life changes and never again will you have an issue regarding that thing, and, like, you're free and you're the best being ever. No, it's like getting better is a process. It's not an event, and you have to do one thing after another to build up to the place where you're going to be. And so when you're working agreements regarding getting out of body, you address certain subjects, and you might address, like, I'm too lazy to practice about getting out of body. And you literally remove, like, revoke things that stop you from being lazy, and now you remove the laziness, and you literally start acting and doing something to get out of body, but you still cannot get out of body. So you get rid of the laziness, you get rid of your fears, you get rid of your beliefs about it, you get rid of, like, different things, but what you're doing is you're removing the core things that are holding you back from getting out of body. And once you remove the core things about not having the memory, being too lazy to practice, and tons of different factors that you might have, you literally pull out the core, and the whole cluster that holds the whole, like, pyramid of issues and stuff just falls apart, and boom, you get out of body. So it's a thing. You really have to practice a lot, but like I cannot tell you like you have to do that tons of sessions and stuff. For myself, for example, I used to have a lot of issues regarding communication. I'm still not best at it. I still have issues, but I've made huge changes. If a childhood, like I had issues with talking and speaking up for myself, having my own opinion, it was really hard. If my parents and I would go shopping and stuff, and I'm like, what do you want? And I tell this, they get the opposite, and it just builds up like whenever I say something, they do the opposite. So why would I talk? Why should I talk? And like all of those events in my life made me like close up, don't talk. It's like your opinion doesn't matter. Like, and I sort of built up like tons of beliefs. So by the age of 18, I don't have my own opinion. I'm people's pleaser. I'm always doing things that others want because like whenever people ask like well, what do you want? I don't know. My opinion doesn't care. Why would I tell you about it? Like so, I had tons of issues regarding talking. To walk up to someone in the store and like Mister, do you know where milk is? That would be super freaking hard for me to ask. I would literally, my body would shake. I would have a thing with like hard to breathe and stuff, and I could literally pass out asking the question. I was like really freaked out. Talking to people was impossible, and like I was like really quiet person, and I'm glad I had like Rich there, and like he was like really pushing me and. We would like we would text like normal people like connect and stuff, and he's talking to me out loud and I'm texting. I'm afraid of talking. I'm freaking afraid. We go out to see my relatives and stuff. Everyone's talking. I'm the quiet one. I'm like, if they ask me something, I will talk, but I will never express myself and stuff. And now, look at me. I'm making videos. I'm talking about my life. I'm talking about irrelevant stuff. I'm ranting and stuff. It's weird. It's crazy, but I've had huge wins. And coming back to the stuff, I did like 5 to 7 sessions regarding communications. 5 to 7. And that's like very little. I did very little work to get these huge wins in my life. But it doesn't mean that I did one session and all of it like was released and I can talk. I had to get rid of fears regarding talking to people, of how I feel when I talk to people, about being afraid of expressing myself. Like some of the key core soul agreements I had was I read up like there's these quotes that like loudest quiet people have the loudest minds and stuff like that, like smart people are silent and blah blah blah, you have to prove things with your actions and not talk it up. I literally oh yeah, I can relate to that. I would think a lot. I would like know a lot from myself. I don't know I barely know anything, but at the time when I was learning and in the surroundings I was growing, it seemed that I could not relate to anyone, because while people think about like fashion or what to eat and stuff, I think about the science, the people, the life, why we're here, the existence, and like all these questions that would arise, and I could not relate to anyone. So I literally did 7 sessions on myself regarding communications, and I had huge wins. And when you pick up subject, you have to know your key things, and when you're doing sessions, you have to find out key core things that are holding you back on that specific thing. Your fears, your emotions, your past life, and literally doing some past life things where they can lock you up. If you express yourself, for example, having a hard time expressing yourself now. I literally recall right now it's I've mentioned, and I get flashbacks of okay, that makes sense. But basically, imagine that I would imagine I can just tell you for example, right now having a hard time talking or speaking too fast, for example, or sharing your own truth, and you have a hard time expressing yourself because probably in your life when you were speaking, when it was really important to you, when something was really important and that was life or death question, and you had to speak up because you really cared about something or someone, and you literally told about that event, you're standing up for justice, for something you think is right, for something you love, for something you care about or care for. And once you stand up, you express yourself in a certain way. And in your past, you might have been in different situations, and people might have oh no, you shut up, it's not good, and they kill you for that, they stab you for that, they imprison you for that, you cannot talk it up, no freedom there. There can be tons of scenarios of what might happen in your past life, but if you were able to recall some of those events that are stopping you right now, whatever hardship you might have, whatever, Even if you have a hard time getting out of body, there's probably something that happened, like, you would, like, in your previous lives, you went out of body so much that you've maybe done something crazy, like exploited some planets, you've killed billions of beings. Maybe you were scared. Maybe you saw some, like, really bad entities and that scared the hell out of you and you're like, never again, I don't want it. So all it takes for you to make an agreement is to make a simple decision. You might have an argument with your friend. You maybe accidentally hurt someone you love. And, like, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Damn. And you start feeling really bad about yourself. You have that sort of guilt trip and stuff. And you make a decision, from now on, I will never do that again. I will never talk bad to my parents. I will never hurt that being, or, like, whatever. You just make a decision, a key thing that, like, from now on, you will blah, blah, blah. And that key decision can be made in the past on different subjects. And nowadays you have to stop again. You cannot be successful because maybe in the past life when you were successful you did things, good or bad. Maybe it traumatized you. Maybe you're afraid of water because you, like, you sort of drowned or stuff happened. And there can be tons of factors that happened in your past life, wherever you were. And nowadays you have hardships. So if you are able to sort of feel it, locate it, and, like, remove the incident where that was traumatic, and you're able to remove agreements from back then, because in the past maybe you made a decision that you will never get out of body again because you maybe did some bad stuff. Maybe you did a lot of good stuff. Maybe you were so interested and curious in getting out of body and learning stuff that you left people that you loved there, and that really hurt them, and you're like, oh, okay, I will never get out of body because I don't want to hurt people again. And you say no to all of your journeys and your travels and stuff because you want to please people, because you want to be there for them here. And a lot can happen, but the key decision that you have made in the past, will be affecting you here. And if you can say, like, okay, I've removed that specific decision that I've made, like, that agreement I've made back in the past, it might be the key thing to change you. So when we, like, look at tarot cards, and, like, can tarot cards tell us about what's going to happen when we revoke agreements, and should we revoke them? I think this sort of subject is too broad. You might have a lot of agreements, you might have a lot of issues, and the more you work on it, the bigger the changes will be. Can you revoke something really, really good? Yes and no. I believe that people like us, beings consciousness, we do not have to make agreements. In order to do something, we do not have to agree to it. If you agree, like, loving someone, and all of a sudden you do not lose love. If you revoke agreements regarding caring about someone, all of a sudden you do not lose your care. What you lose while you're addressing is you lose your fear, your worries, like, oh, the more I care about people, the more it hurts me. And you revoke that, but you still care about people, but it does not hurt you anymore. So that being said, there might be, if you're wondering, like, I don't know what specifically might be your issue, like, or thing with, like, why are you asking tarot cards instead of doing the work yourself? I still, like, revoking agreements. I don't know why, but I'm just, like, making possibilities. Like, maybe, what if you are afraid of revoking something good? Maybe, like, why are you not doing the process? And I'm just, like, questioning myself of why the person is thinking that way, and, like, things that comes up, like, maybe you're afraid to revoke something good. And the thing is, you might, like, have your key value, like, you have a key thing, a core that holds you as who you are as a person, your blueprints for living and stuff. And you might have, like, as a girl, I do not agree to selling out. I am not selling out in this world. I'm not gonna do this or that. And, like, I have, like, strict rules of, like, personal life. I really value it, and there are certain things that I do not want to show. Like, someone offers me $1 million, like, hey, get naked on the internet. I'm like, no, it's against my values. Like, I don't want to do that. So it's simple. Take the money, show off, like revoke my agreements and stuff. But I don't want to, because in this life and, like, the way I think and stuff, it just builds me as who I am as a person. And you might have your core agreements or core values of who you are as a person, who holds you as a consciousness, like your personality, your character, like ego, whatever. But it's just you. It's like it's you. And throughout the process, you might be afraid that you might remove that agreement. And I've did it with something, I guess. I did it with something, like, I really, really cared about it. It really was into it. And it was just, like, the more I was into it, the more it sort of hurt me. And I released it. And it was like, oh damn. I got rid of it. But now it's, like, really empty. I don't like this feeling. And I was like, okay, I agreed to get it back. and nothing. Like I didn't have the problem anymore. It's just simple. Like if you think that you might lose something really positive, and you accidentally do that, and you feel bad about it, you can literally just agree to it again, and all of it will come back. It's that easy. But revoking the stuff that's blocking you, that's stopping you, that's creating your life like a mess, I think it's important. So you can always get the good stuff back. Easy enough. Just one word, one decision, one thought, one intention, and you always have it back. But to revoke things that stop you, that are holding you back, I think it's more important. And I think like eventually, while doing the process, if you might be afraid about like losing something that you love or care, like, or whatever about yourself, you will have the feeling for it. Like, you will feel like, oh, if I revoke it, it's gonna be really bad. At the same time, that's another subject. It's be careful. Be careful. Like, you will feel the changes if it's really bad for you, and it's super rare. It's really, really rare to revoke something that's like really good for you. It's basically, you don't have to agree to have it because it's natural. But sometimes, and those with myself, there can be entities who create certain sort of feelings in our body, in our feeling state of our certain states that will. Okay, yeah, it's so weird. I'm making a video and everything froze. And now, like, I clicked pause just in case, but it didn't pause, so I just kept talking, and now it paused. I'm like, where did it stop? But anyway, I'll just say it again, just in case. There might be entities causing certain feelings in our body, and they will trigger us and stuff. So you can literally, like, the bigger the resistance is for revoking something, for getting rid of something, for making some changes in your life, you can sort of suspect it as like it's entity trying to hold back. It's entity trying to stop you from that, because literally, I had huge interest in going at my past life and trying to find specific things that are like really hurting me in the present, and I was like targeting that. And what happened, the moment I sat down to do the session with a person, the moment I said the topic that I want to address, I had this huge fear, huge resistance, huge uninterest, and I just wanted to run away. I did not want to do the session. I was like, no, I can't do it. I don't want it. It's no. And I had this like huge resistance, and I'm like, whoa, what is happening? Like, just a few minutes ago, and for a whole like few months, I was like, I have to address this. It's important. And the moment I sit down, the moment it's about to happen, the moment I'm about to like go deep into that, I have this like huge resistance like never before. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna be icky. I don't like it, but I'm gonna sit through it. I'm gonna confront it. I'm gonna go through it and see what happens. And just as I thought, all of that, like, I worked through the process. I released a lot of negative stuff that was like holding me back, that caused the traumatic emotions, all this all these intense feelings and stuff. And through that, I'm like, I'm stopping, and I was like, inspecting, are there any entities in this whole subject that were trying to hold me back? And sure enough, clusters and clusters that were feeding off from me in that way, feeding off from me because of those emotions I used to have, and all this fear and resistance I had regarding like sitting down and doing the specific sessions all myself. It was like all caused by entities, because they were feeding off from me, and they were so happy with me feeling this like really negative, really bummed out, really depressed and stuff. And the moment I got rid of them, I was like really happy. And my life literally changed. There are certain things that I used to have that would trigger me, that would like stop me, that would like make me freeze, and I just like, I was like, I don't know, weak enough, or like not skilled enough, but like, it would really get me. That would really cause this sort of huge fear, rageful emotions, like fearful, rageful, and into the deep depression and stuff. And like I literally had to work through certain issues, and huge entities, huge cluster of entities holding that, creating that sort of thing, because that's where they feed on me. All these negative things. And the moment I sat down to address it is the moment they were like, we're gonna be bugged, like we're gonna disappear if she keeps addressing that. So they try to create sort of fear, resistance, like don't do this, like this bad stuff is gonna happen, you're not gonna like it, it's gonna be like really tough. All these emotions and fearful things and the thoughts and stuff really get intensely and like all over the top. So I was amazed by the changes I had, because after that session, it was like a few hour long session, but that changed my life like really big time. And it's amazing. And I feel like, like right now, when you want to remove certain agreements, look for that resistance. If you want to change something better for your life, look if there is resistance, because that's where you might know if they're entities. If they can feed from you, if they can control you, if they can mess with you in a way where they benefit and you are in the better, like worst position. And if that can keep happening again and again, like a trigger thing, like a pattern and stuff, if you can remove that, if you can get rid of those entities, your life will get better. So if you like you're looking at tarot cards and see like, should I revoke this agreement? Should I revoke this topic? Like like what's gonna happen? Is it good or not and stuff? My call is revoke agreements, because all of it limits you. If at any reason, and it's like super rare and it should not happen, if you remove anything like that's good for you, you can always get it back by a simple thought, like, yeah, I need it back. I agree to have it back. It's back. So revoke all the bad stuff, all the stuff that you think might be limiting you. And the more you work on yourself, the more you do these sessions, the more your life will change for the better. You literally, it's not like you do one session and everything clears up, but you have to work. You have to address one thing and the things connected to it. Like, you might be afraid of judgment. Judgment of who? And then you address all the people. I'm afraid that my mom will judge me. I'm afraid that my brother will judge me. I'm afraid that my best friend will judge me. And you basically address 5-7 people, and they were the bigger ones that you were afraid of judging you. You remove those people, like you remove the fear of them judging you, and all of a sudden things happen. Like, So here it is. I'm just like sharing my thoughts on like, why some people might have this sort of stop from the tarot cards and why it might stop you and stuff. But hey, try it out for yourself, share your thoughts. If you're using tarot cards, let me know how it works, if you have any good questions and helps, and if it's helping you in life to make greater decisions and stuff. But just saying. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.